we'd like you to see Jane's answer to a question put to her by the Good Day Show several months ago. Wasn't that long ago? When asked what was the greatest award you've ever had, she answered this way.
Oh, God, I think when Tom wanted to marry me.
Tom Hayden.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Tom Hayden and Jane Fonda. Please, right there. We got such a reaction on Jane's answer to that. Do you remember that when Merrill asked you that question?
No.
That was a few months
Did
ago.
you just see the clip? Did you see it?
I did, yes.
Yeah.
Well, welcome to Boston.
Thanks.
This,
Thank you very much.
We're not number one on your 52-city swing, are we?
No.
No, we've been out there 6 days already.
Oh,
You have
6
how many
cities?
days left?
We've
30.
been in probably a dozen cities.
Well, I should tell, I think everybody's aware of the fact that you've got a new organization going. And I was looking at your tenants there, and boy, I don't see how you're going to get anybody to disagree. The CED fights inflation and gets results. Now, right off the bat, you're zeroing in on energy, housing, health and safety, economic justice, and women. Now, you haven't had any opposition, have you?
Oh, a little.
Have you had protesters?
You're somebody
Yes,
for...
the Ku Klux Klan, the Nazis, and Young Americans for Freedom.
Gee.
Well, do you think that's a personal thing, though, with you, Jane?
Well, they lost the war. They're looking for something. They lost their candidate. They're trying to make political hay off the fact that we're controversial.
Yes, you have been controversial.
Yeah.
Have you changed? Is this a new Tom Hayden, a new Jane Fonda?
Well, it's hard to say. You know, when I was on trial in Chicago 10 years ago, and I was being sentenced for my supposedly dangerous activities against the war in Vietnam, the judge said, "You know, Mr. Hayden, you could have gone far under our system. You could have been an assistant U.S. attorney or something." And people in those days always used to say, if you would only dress up and so forth, you could really succeed. So then when you dress up, they say, "Aren't you the same radical that I knew in the 60s?"
All right,
You
that's
get it
interesting.
either way. You know, there's no...
But you did say you were going to try within the system. You ran for office in California, ran for the Senate. Are you going to run again in '82 against Senator Hayakawa?
I'm not prepared to make that announcement today. I
Does
have to
this-
talk to my mother, don't I? I haven't
All right.
consulted enough people.
Does this trip in any way have anything to do with the candidacy of Governor Brown?
No, we're not involved with anybody's candidacies. We have a lot of respect for Senator Kennedy, for Governor Brown, for various people, and we're working with people who are for one or for the other or for no one. And we'd like to keep working with the people in Iowa, New Hampshire, Michigan. These are hot primary states where there's going to be a serious election, but right now we find that the voters and the citizens are terribly interested in the issues, and
How-
not yet in the candidates.
How is CED organized and how's it funded?
We're a California-based organization, a grassroots statewide organization with a lot of chapters and a lot of members, and we're funded by membership dues. We're funded by folks that go and knock on doors and tell people what we do and ask for contributions. We do concerts, we do special events. A lot of celebrities support what we do. It's difficult. We run candidates, and it's real expensive for people to run for office these days. Usually the only folks that can get up there are people that are very rich. They never count on someone like Tom marrying me. Or that someone like me will have the sort of feelings that I do. So we try to support candidates that are like you all, like these people sitting in the audience.
Well, that's interesting.
There's all kinds of people who don't think of themselves as being leaders turn out sometimes to have very strong feelings and terrific amounts of courage. And we think that average citizens and consumers and working people aren't represented enough in our political system, and so we try to make it possible for them to get elected.
You were telling me before there's a great organization here. In fact, the title to your new movie is 9 to 5. And you were saying there's a good organization here called 9 to 5. And you really advocate women getting together, Jane, as a force to...
It's an organization of clerical workers, office workers. Some people don't know women who work in offices have to put up with. You know, a lot of people believes that women who go to work, they do it out of some trip. They want to be liberated. And, you know, I think it's important to recognize that women work because they have to. Many women are the sole supporters of families, and many women have to work to supplement their husband's income in order to raise the family income above the poverty level. And a lot of women who work for some of our more profitable companies and banks get so little money they're eligible for food stamps. And they earn 57 cents for every dollar earned by men, and they're getting angry, and they're beginning to organize all around the country. And I think that's really good, and I support them, and I'm going to make a movie about it. How many people in the audience are office workers? Any of you work in offices? You're not an office worker.
Oh, you said women. Oh.
I'm making a
You
movie.
raised your
I'm making
hand.
a comedy about office workers.
Are you going to hire? Is Dolly Parton?
Dolly
gonna play
Parton,
the
I
lead?
think, is going to be in it. She plays the boss's personal secretary.
Is that fun?
It's a movie about secretaries fantasizing about murdering their boss.
So it's not a
Okay.
political statement. Is it?
I don't think that any good film can be a political statement. A good film can, through its emotional effect on people, help raise consciousness. But if you want to make a political statement, you make a speech. I do plenty of that too.
Yeah.
There
But
was a
film
case.
is an art form.
I wanted to ask your opinion. Somebody said it. I can't remember who. That the China syndrome basically was supposed to be anti-nuclear. They said it wasn't so much anti-nuclear as it was anti-business. Is there any truth to that? Because those corporate people were pretty despicable, you know. At the end, you wanted to punch that one guy right in the face.
Well, you know, when you see what's happening around the country, it's not too far off base, is it? Where you see communities in too many places in this country that are being radiated, that are finding toxic chemicals, poisoning their water supplies,
Right.
from New York to California. And then you find out that the executives have known that it's been going on for years and haven't done anything about it. And I think that you're right. That's really what the center of the China syndrome is, and in fact, the center of our tour.
That's what I wanted to ask you. Is the campaign for economic democracy, is it anti-business, or is it a drive to have business accept the moral responsibility of their actions?
It's the second. It's a campaign that tries to raise the issue of business grown too large and beyond anybody's accountability, just as the issue of government getting too big has been raised in the last several years. And the answers are going to be long in coming. There's going to be a Corporate Responsibility Act introduced next year in Congress that'll be a vehicle for debate. But we'd like to see a more representative management and board of directors. We'd like to see employees having more say on the job. We'd like to see law and order, criminal penalties applied uniformly to business as well as personal conduct. It's a reform of the business system, I think, rather than an anti-business.
You know what they're going to say
position.
immediately to that?
Sure.
Socialism.
Well, socialism is like taking big government and putting it on top of big business. That's the problem that we have with
And you have an example in Great Britain.
You have a lot of examples. The problem with socialism is the size of government, and the problem with capitalism is becoming the size of business. So we don't want to put the two problems together and call it a solution.
Can I ask Jane a question? I know you've been asked this 100 times. I haven't heard your answer, though. It's the Joan-Jane battle. Joan Baez and you have differed over the boat people.
Not over the boat people. The media has blown this up. Joan and I have talked about what we're going to do about this. I share her concern for the boat people. I've helped raise money and sent medical supplies to 14,000 Indo-Chinese refugees over there, and helped express the need for people to sponsor people coming into
Well, how
this
did it come
country.
about then?
Well,
Did she ask you for help?
She put an ad in the paper around the country that made very serious charges, and in an attempt to substantiate the charges, I went to the two most reputable Nobel Peace Prize winning organizations that have concern for political prisoners, Amnesty International and the Quakers. And the heads of those two organizations told me that they had not been able to substantiate the charges made in her ad. One of the reasons is because they can't get into Vietnam to investigate the conditions there. I support their right to do that, and I've said so very strongly to the Vietnamese.
Now, that's completely different than we've read. You
Yeah.
have helped the boat people? You're in
Yes.
sympathy.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I think
Well-
it's a terrible problem that's going to get worse in the future as other countries have have people leaving and coming in our direction. It's
Well,
a
I-
complicated
Maybe
problem.
this tour will help you clear up some of the things the media has distorted.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I once had to give up a film career because of my politics, and I might have to again, and I would be prepared to do that. But I would be miserable because I take my work real seriously. I try to combine both of them.